Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we live in the MLB regular season. Is nearing its end. So I'm gonna do a video I like doing at the end of each season. It's my all 2024 fantasy baseball disappointment team. These guys did not live up to where they were drafted. At the end of the season, I'll do my all mostly went undrafted guys who mostly went undrafted and went on to have good fantasy seasons. But I'll do this one first, since if you had a few of these guys, odds are you probably still aren't alive in your fantasy postseason, as season is nearing a close. For this team, I'm going to have a catcher, first base, second base, shortstop, third base, three outfielders, five starting pitchers, and a relief pitcher. Outfielders and starting pitchers named in alphabetical order by last name. I took the website Fantasy Pros, which showed average draft position using numerous websites such as CBS, ESPN, and Yahoo, averaged them out, and I listed where they were picked on average at their position. I know some guys are available at multiple positions. I made it where I put them at the position they played most this season. Let's get into it, starting with the catcher. Sean Murphy on average was the eighth catcher, and let me just start by saying, when you see when you see the infield, you'll know why the Braves right now are on the outside looking in the postseason, because Sean Murphy was one of the better catchers in the league last season. Although he did have a second half swoon, hit 21 homers on the year last year with an 844 OPS. This year, he's batting under the Mendoza line at 198. Has just 9 homers in 68 games, only 17 runs scored, and 23 RBIs. Definitely hasn't helped his owners. First base, another Atlanta Brave. Matt Olson was the second first baseman taken on average. Olson had an outstanding season last year. 54 homers, 139 RBIs, 127 runs scored. Now, this isn't to say that Olson's necessarily doing bad this year, but his batting average has dipped 41 points. Nearly half the homers, 28, and not yet with the 100 RBIs or 100 runs. So again, not a bad season, but when on average, he was the second first baseman taken. Not what his owners wanted. Some other disappointments: Paul Goldschmidt, Spencer Torkelson, Yandy Diaz. Catcher, I should have mentioned, JT Realmuto. Not a bad season, but was the second catcher overall taken on average, and Jonah Heim. Second base, yet another Atlanta Brave, Ozzie Albies. And I should also mention, I didn't include guys who would only be on here because of injury. Some of these guys were injured, but they played enough where when they played, they just did not help their owners at well. But anyhow, Ozzie Albies on average, the second baseman taken. 33 homers last season. This season, 8 in 91 games, not even 50 RBIs or 50 runs scored after 109 and 96, respectively, in RBIs and runs. Batting average just dropped 26 points from last season. Other disappointments: Marcus Semien, Xander Bogaerts, and Gleyber Torres. Shortstop, have to go with Bo Bichette. On average, the eighth shortstop taken. Recently came back from injury. 81 games this season. He's banged 225. He batted 306 last season. 4 home runs. That's it. 29 runs, 31 RBIs. Ouch. Some other disappointing shortstops, although they were taken a little bit later on average: Dansby Swanson and Jackson Holliday. Third base, yes, another Atlanta Brave, Austin Riley on average, the second third baseman taken. Now, Riley was beginning to play better, but hasn't played since August 18th. So his season totals in 110 games: 256 average, 19 homers. Not terrible, but last season 281, 37 homers. Season before that, 38 homers. Season before that, 33 homers. So a lot less pop in his bat. Just 56 RBIs after averaging nearly 100 per year the previous 3 seasons. Another guy who's been a little bit of a disappointment, Nolan Arenado. Outfield again, alphabetical order by last name, and there were a bunch of guys I could have chose. So it was hard to limit to three. Let's start with Nolan Jones, who on average was the 15th outfielder taken. Outstanding rookie year with the Rockies last season. Fourth in NL Rookie of the Year voting. 297 average, 20 homers in 106 games. This year in 72 games, a 208 average with 3 home runs, 20 stolen bases last year, just 5 this season, 23 RBIs, 27 runs. Major disappointment. Next, Luis Robert Jr. of the White Sox, averaging 10th outfielder taken. What a miserable season it's been for the White Sox. Many see Robert as their best player and just hasn't performed up to par in his 94 games, just a 226 batting average. Stolen bases has helped him. He has 22. But last season, 38 homers. This season, 14. 35 RBIs, just 44 runs on this season. And the other outfielder, let's go with J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez, on average, the second outfielder taken. Rodriguez, of course, had the outstanding ending to his 2023 season, ended up finishing 4th in AL MVP voting, 7th in his rookie season, where he also won AL Rookie of the Year this year. And he's been playing better, but got off to such a disappointing start. Just a 268 batting average with 18 home runs in 135 games. He had 32 homers last year, 103 RBIs last year compared to 59 this season, 102 runs compared to 68 last season. Still has 22 stolen bases, but did steal 37 last season. Again, was a bunch of outfielders I considered, including Ronald Acuna Jr., of course, on average, the first outfielder taken. Played enough where he could be considered, I believe, 40-something games. But in the end, I went with these three. Also, Michael Harris Jr., Adolis Garcia, Randy Rosarina, and Jordan Walker, among a few others. Now let's get with the 5 starting pitchers, starting with Chris Bassitt, who on average was the 32nd starting pitcher taken last season. Tied for the AL lead with 16 wins. This season has 10. 4.16 ERA. The first time he's had over a 4 ERA since 2016. 1.43 WHIP. Never had more than over a 1.2 WHIP since 2018. So just an overall disappointing year for Bassitt, as well as the Blue Jays as a whole. Kevin Gausman, who hasn't been bad, but on average was the 5th starting pitcher taken and hasn't pitched like it. 3.91 ERA, so slightly under 4. That's his worst since 2018. Where he's really suffered is in the strikeout department. Last year, he led the AL, averaging 11.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. Each of the last 5 seasons prior to this one, averaged at least 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. This season, he's down to 8.2. So the strikeouts is one of the main reasons he was taken so early and just hasn't performed as well at carrying batters. Next, Bobby Miller, on average the 22nd starting pitcher taken, and man, has he been awful. Sent down to the minors twice this year. In 13 starts, he has 2 wins, an 8.52 ERA. That's right, 8.52. And a 1.77 WHIP. Do I need to say more? Miserable season for Miller. Another pitcher with having a miserable season, Jordan Montgomery. On average, the 48th starter taken. Normally, I might not pick a starter who was taken, not even in the top 45 at his position, but Since Montgomery's been so bad, I decided to include him. Of course, took him a long time to sign with the Diamondbacks. One of Scott Boris's clients who took a while to sign. Well, in his 20 starts, also 4 relief appearances, Montgomery has a 6.23 ERA, 77 strikeouts in 112 and two-thirds innings. So just 6.2 strikeouts per nine and a 1.64 whip. Diamondbacks look like they should be making the playoffs as a wild card, and somehow Montgomery's over 500 despite those stats at 8-7. The last starting pitcher, the elder statesman on this team, Justin Verlander. Of course, the 41-year-old had such an incredible career. On average, he was the 39th starter taken. Just recently came back from a neck injury. Late August, recently admitted that he probably came back too soon. In his 16 starts this season, a 5.55 ERA, just 7.4 strikeouts per 9 innings, his lowest since 2014, nearly a 1.4 whip. I mean, 2023 was a very good season, but 2022 was otherworldly for Verlander as he won the AL Cy Young. Definitely won't be winning it this year, and it'll be interesting to see if the Astros have him in their rotation for the postseason. Let's end with a relief pitcher. We're gonna go with Camilo Duvall of the San Francisco Giants. Duvall, on average, was the fourth relief pitcher taken. Duvall, a 5.24 ERA this season after sub 3 ERAs the previous 2 years. A whip of 1.66. Incredible, that's just awful. Had a short stint in the minor leagues. I mean, he did strike out 11.9 batters per 9 innings, but, when your ERA is that bad, when your whip's that bad, just hasn't been good for his owners. Led the NL with 39 saves last year. This season, just 23. Some other relief pitchers I consider: Alexis Diaz, David Bednar, Craig Kimbrell. Also should mention a couple starting pitchers I considered as well: Jesus Luzardo and Walker Buehler. So there you have it, my 2024 all disappointment fantasy baseball team. Let me know in the comments some guys you drafted that did not pay dividends for you. Did I forget to name someone? Do you think someone should have been on here that I did not include? And stay tuned for either next weekend or the Monday after the season ends for my all mostly went undrafted 2024 fantasy baseball team. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.